Hello everyone, welcome to the pros and cons for the Manchester derby. We're going to kick things off with the negatives and maybe a couple of positives towards the end. Make sure you stick around for that to see what we are going to talk about. If you're watching this right now, please do smash that like button and get involved in the comment section because I want to hear your thoughts on the game itself. Really do, genuinely do want to hear your thoughts, so please do get your opinions in. And we're going to kick things off, as always, the negatives. So let's go. We are a mid-quality team. If you look at Man City's lineup in comparison to ours yesterday, let me just put a graphic on the screen. Look at the difference. Look at City's team. Ederson, Walcott, Diaz, Stones, Ake, Rodri, De Bruyne, Bernardo Silva, Doku, Foden, Haaland, like almost world-class players everywhere on the pitch. And then you look at Man United and how torn apart it is. It's absolutely ridiculous. Replacements on the injury front, we have a centre-back go out, Lissandro, our most important player, arguably, and a 35-year-old Johnny Evans, who didn't have a club, is starting in the Manchester derby. We don't have a left-back fit currently, unless he's been out all season. Luke Shaw's had consistent injury problems, who's also important to many phases of our game. Not available, so Victor Lindelof comes in and he's so limited. That there straight away is such like a hindrance on us, and Pep's probably looked at that and thought, you know what, we can hurt him in so many ways, and that's where Foden's goal came from. The final third in the midfield let the team down as well completely. There were situations where we needed to keep hold of the ball, and we panicked. McTominay in particular, kind of ghosted in the second half. He was okay in the first. And then the attackers, Garnacho had a poor performance, but I'm not saying he's a bad player, but he's not at the level, obviously, of, winning Premier League titles yet. He's still, that's a development thing. Marcus Rashford, I'm going to get onto in a moment. So, like, the whole team really, really lacks quality. There was a couple of individual good performances, but apart from that, we just couldn't sustain the pressure. It was never, when we go 1-0 up in the first half, you're looking at the second half coming into it and you're like, this ain't going to work. This ain't going to work. It's just not sustainable at all. And when they scored, it was kind of like, yep. Marcus Rashford. Now, in one game, he's managed to show what he's capable of and what he isn't. You saw the goal that he scored, unbelievable. And he scored some great goals against Arsenal, even against City before, Liverpool. Like, he always does it. We said in the preview, he does it against the big teams. But then his overall performance, like, he does the hard thing really well, which is like a 1 in 20 shot and pulls it off. And then the rest of it, the easy chances where he gets in behind and he's nodding it to the ground, or the volley at the back post and he fluffs his lines. Things like that. If you finish them opportunities, you kill the game off. You're 3-0 at half time. I thought the tackle with Kyle Walker was interesting. A lot of people going in there saying, he's pulled him down and da-da-da. It was soft as fuck. It weren't. Rashford is too flaky for me, personally. And I don't think he has the qualities to sit here and say he can be what Saka is for Arsenal, what Son is for Tottenham, what De Bruyne is for City. All these teams, what even Trippier is for Newcastle. I don't think he has that profile. I don't think he has the personality, and that's not necessarily his fault. He's just naturally like kind of a shy guy. But when you want someone you want like a Rooney in the team yesterday to grab him, slap someone on the back of the head. Do you know what I mean? Like just that bit of like leadership, and I don't think he is that type of guy, and I don't think he ever will be. One thing I will say to him, he does make some really, really good runs that never get picked out, so that again is on the midfield, which I touched on before. But his overall game, I mean, he needs to work in so many assets before he even gets close to world class, in my opinion. The history books. Now, when we take a look at the past couple of years, the performances against Man City and Liverpool in particular, and the goals that we've conceded, it's very embarrassing. Very embarrassing. When was the last time we went into a game against a rival, against a Liverpool or a City, full of confidence, full of beans, thinking, yeah, we can give them a good game here, or yeah, we can get something from this competition? And also, how long is this going to continue for? Are we going to be sat here for another 3-4 years saying, we're not quite at Liverpool's level yet, we're not quite at Man City's level? It's going to be a backs-to-the-wall performance. What did you expect for him? Because I can't be arsed with that, to be honest with you. And it's getting to a point now, they put a stat up on Sky Sports yesterday, where they've shown, the last kind of 10 years what City's done and what United's done. And if they replicate that in the next 10 years, they'll catch us up. A tin pot club like Man City catching us up. Not only that, Liverpool could win a league this season. They've already won one trophy. It's not looking great for United fans at the minute. Erik ten Hag. Now, his future looks uncertain. You've had ex-players already in Paul Scholes, Gary Neville coming out saying that they think Ineos have already decided, and people will say, well, what do ex-players know? Rio said this about Qatar and da-da-da, and that's fine, you're entitled to your opinion. In my humble opinion, I know that Gary Neville is going to be working alongside, or at least he's been mentioned to be working alongside with Ineos around, plans around the area and stuff like that. I think they will have an inkling, and I guarantee they've spoken to people already who said, I'm not sure about Ten Hag. I think he might be going. So I think the writing is on the wall for him. Personally, I like Erik Ten Hag as well. I personally won't get rid of him. I'd assess it in the summer, but it seems like Ineos are probably already speaking to managers now in like a confidential way. His excuse about not having players is valid as well to a certain extent. He's coming out in a press conference and he's saying, we're playing Lindelof. Well, he's not saying we're playing Lindelof at left back. Basically saying Lindelof at left back, Johnny Evans comes in, da. And that is an excuse because I mentioned that before. It is a valid. And most of the players on that pitch yesterday were all Mourinho and Ole players, the majority of them. So you can kind of understand why a style of play isn't there when 75% of the team and not the makeup of the way you want to build it. But even still, when we played Man City last season, we had De Gea, Dalot, Varane, Lissandro, Malacio, Eriksen, McTominay, Anthony, Bruno, Sancho, and Rashford, and we got beat 6-3. So, do you know what I mean? It's I don't know. I really, really don't know with this manager. My thoughts seem to change every single week. It's flippant. It's like, yeah, I think he needs to go now. Now it's like, I honestly don't know what they're going to do. But one thing I know for sure I wouldn't do right now is get rid of him for the last 10 games. Definitely wouldn't do that. Amrabat, fuck me. Send him back to Fiorentina. With all due respect, send him back to Fiorentina first class. Imagine grafting your ass off for 82 minutes, trying to defend the lead. I know it goes to 2-1 Man City. But you're still technically in the game there. You can still smash and grab a last minute, kind of winner. It's happened before. Pressure gauge turns and the game's slightly different. Amrabat comes on and gives it away. I know Casemiro, a little bit of a penalty pass, but just clear your lines if you're not sure about it. He daddles on it. And I think that is kind of the story of our midfielders. Apart from Kobe, that is the story of our midfielder. Casemiro does it as well. They spend way too much time. They're still in the Spanish league or the Italian league. Like the Prem, the intensity and the pace of it is way quicker than what they're showing. I don't think he's lived up to the expectations, which most people thought when we signed him. Like, oh God, we can finally play, Amrabat and Casemiro. I mean, how many games did they play together? I think they played 1 or 2 max. He's been way off the pace. I don't think he suits the Premier League. I think we need an elite purchase in there because Casemiro was falling off as well. There was a couple times where he had it, dawdling on it again, gets, people pinch their pockets loads of times in a game, and you'll see it. Go back and watch any game. Casemiro and Amrabat, they're too sluggish on the ball. My pros and cons last week was literally slugs. I call them both slugs, even after the Forest game. We need an elite player in there. I don't know who that's going to be, but look at the effect that Declan Rice has had for Arsenal. May have cost 100 million quid, but no one's even questioning that price tag, and I think he's the only player worth that at the minute who's been paid for that amount of money. And look at the difference he's had. That is someone who United need desperately. It's a tough ask for Champions League football now. Aston Villa at 11 points ahead. 11 points. Aston Villa above us. Spurs, and we beat them twice this season. Spurs 8 points above us. You just simply cannot lose to teams like Fulham at Old Trafford if you are trying to chase Champions League. You can't lose them kind of games because you do all the hard work. You beat Wolves at Molineux. You beat Aston Villa twice, like I've just mentioned. You've won a couple of tough games. You get beat off Fulham. You go 1-0 up at the Etihad and then collapse. Like, not acceptable at all. I know Aston Villa and Spurs play each other next. So obviously there's going to be points drop there. Maybe you can catch Spurs, and that is like a big if, a very big if. We've got a good run of games now, so I'd expect us to go win them 3. I'd expect us to go beat Everton, Sheffield and Brentford. And if they can do that, we'll have a conversation then, but come back to me then. Positives. Look, the back line didn't do much wrong, did they? I think Varane and Diego Dalot in particular were really, really good. I saw some stats actually on Dalot, which I want to pull up for you. So, Diego Dalot's game by numbers versus Man City, 100% tackle win rate, 100% dribbles completed, 100% aerial duels won, 80% duels win rate, 8 out of 10 duels won, and 3 out of 3 tackles. He was solid, and he's been solid for the past month or so, Diego Dalot. He's been, apart from Højlund, I think he's been, and maybe Mainu in there as well, he's been our most informed player. Really impressed, and if he continues on this trajectory, I can see him being a right back. I still would probably bring in a right back. I think that's interesting what they're going to do with that situation. Same thing with the centre backs as well. Like Rafael Varane can go on a free in the summer. And there will definitely be a couple of clubs who are going in for him because the past couple of games he's been really, really good. Now, I think they're going to offer him like a new wage. It won't be on the same kind of wages. So it depends where Varane's head is at in the summer and what kind of clubs come in for him. So we'll have to wait and see on that one. But I would definitely keep him around for sure. I think, yeah. His in-box defending is as good as anything I've seen. He has some deficiencies. He's not amazing on the ball. But if you look at his just pure defending, he's decent, man. So I would keep him around and have him as that like kind of bit part, but like mentor as well for whatever, if it's Branthwaite or Todibo, whoever it is who comes in next. I think they can learn a lot from someone like Raphael Varane. So both situations there, the right back and centre back, I think are interesting heading into this new summer under Ineos. Andre Onana, what's going on? Going under the radar. I saw a couple stats again. This season, Andre Onana has faced 414 shots on average, one shot every 5.5 minutes. That is crazy. Absolutely crazy. And he got a lot of abuse at the start of the season for the mistakes he was making, and rightfully so. A lot of abuse. I'm not saying abuse is right. I'm just saying like he got criticised, let's say, for his performances in the Premier League at the start of the season and his performances in the Champions League also. But in the past couple of weeks, he's been solid. And he was really, really good yesterday. And these stats kind of show that 7 out of 17 long balls completed, and one of them being an assist, basically, for Rashford's goal, which was really good. 8 high claims, 5 saves, and 1.16 XG prevented. And as I touched on, the assist for the goal was really, really good, proactive. And that's what I don't think De Gea, you never saw that from David De Gea. So, look, that is one positive you take out of it. Like, thank God he's performing. Because, if he was in the form that he was, we probably would have shipped another 4, 5, 6 goals against Man City. And then we've got a whole, completely different conversation on our hands. So, yeah, I'm moderately happy with the way he's progressing. But I want to see this now in a consistent fashion, week in, week out. And then, yeah, we don't have to worry about that keeper position. He's 27 years old. Get some players back. And then let's see more build-up from the back. And, yeah, let's see him build up in form as well. So yeah, well done Onana. Had a good game. Conclusion. As I mentioned before, it's time to start going hopefully back on a run of wins now. Højlund shouldn't be too long coming back. I'm praying Mount and Malacia can add some depth and quality because they've been, since January, it's like they're a week away or the weeks away and we've just heard nothing at all. So there must have been very significant injuries because they've both been out forever, especially Malacia. And as I mentioned, these players coming back would, especially the left back, even Mount in midfield, I'd love it instead of a McTominay because I think he brings qualities that McTominay doesn't have. Malacia just as for that balance because you have no left footers there whatsoever, just to bring that width and help Marcus or Garnacho or whoever it is on the left hand side. I want to see him back, but I don't know when they're going to be back. There's no clarity on it whatsoever, and I think it's a tough task for Erik ten Hag to turn it around now and get Champions League football and go far in the FA Cup because we've got Liverpool, and I think Liverpool are a far better team than us this season. So again, you're almost sat here like the season's ending quite bleak under yet again another manager. So do you want to sack the manager or do you want to get rid of the players first? That's the question that I'll leave you with. Let us know your thoughts on the game, if there's any pros or cons that I've missed, and please do smash a like on the video and get involved in the comment section. United lose 3-1 to Manchester City, and yet again there are plenty of bones to pick. Take care.